Hello，你好，Welcome back，欢迎回来，Wisdom Wednesday with Johnny Tiger. Today we are going to do a long overdue episode. Honestly, when one of my audience, one of my fans, brought up that hey, you should do an episode on the origin of dragon, I was absolutely certain that I have done such an episode. Like, how the heck can we go through an entire year of the dragon in 2024 and I didn't do an episode on where the dragon come from? But I looked through my old archive and yeah, I did not do an episode on dragon. That blew my mind. Okay, that totally boggled my mind that it could have slipped my notice that we went through Year of the Dragon and did not address this. So I'm going to make it up to you guys today, and we're going to sit down and talk about not just the origin of Chinese dragons, but why is the dragon part of the Chinese zodiac? I mean, when you really think about it, it's weird. All the animals, all the animals in the Chinese zodiac, uh, were real. They're all real animals, with the only exception being the dragon. In fact, later, we are going to look at this again, and we're going to point out that if you really look at most of the Chinese zodiac, there are animals that ordinary people would come in contact with only two exceptions, the tiger and the dragon. And the answer might be a lot more anticlimactic than you might have thought. So, first let's talk about Chinese dragon, aka Long, Long, Long. Okay. Um, how are Chinese dragon different from Western dragon? Let's just get this out on the table right off the bat. Okay, Chinese dragon and Western dragon, they're not the same thing. Okay, uh, in in Chinese culture, it's long. Okay, in Western culture, it's dragon. They don't look the same. They don't do the same thing. It's just for simplicity's sake, people call them Chinese dragon. But it's almost like, well, you know how American football and football in England, when you go to England, you talk about football, they think soccer. When you go to the U.S. and you talk football, they think American football. And it's two completely different sports, completely different style of play, completely different kind of athletes. Well, Chinese dragon, Western dragon is like that. Okay, even though people like to call them both dragon, they're completely different animals, different mythological beings with completely different power sets. First of all, Western dragon look kind of like dinosaurs with wings. I mean, most of the Western dragons, if you look at them, you can tell that they probably evolved from something like pterodactyl, or amalgamation of pterodactyl and Triceratops or pterodactyl plus T Rex or pterodactyl plus Stegosaurus. Like it's an amalgamation of dinosaurs. And when you look at Western dragon, they are big, scaly lizards with wings, basically, and they breathe fire. Right? I mean, in modern cartoons and stuff like that, you see some of them breathing other stuff like ice and poison and and stuff like that. But basically, they're big, scaly, winged reptile that breathe some obnoxious, destructive power, and they usually like to cause a lot of destruction. They like to hoard treasure. They like virgin princesses and stuff like that. Okay. Um, so in Western culture, dragons usually something like one of the ultimate challenge for heroes to overcome. For heroes to go kill a dragon, and the hero is a big deal. That's usually the case. In Chinese culture, okay, Chinese dragon, first of all, is more serpentine. Most of them are depicted without wings, although uh, some of them will have wings, and there is a reason for that. We'll get to that when we talk about the evolution or the etymology of dragon or long, Chinese dragon. Um, Chinese dragons don't generally breathe fire, right? Even though they sometimes are depicted with a fireball in front of their mouth, uh, and so people think they breathe fire, but most of the time they don't. Chinese dragon can usually fly without needing wings. They usually have 6 to 8 legs along their body. They usually don't cause trouble for people, uh, like some monsters out of mythology. Chinese dragons usually are protectors, they are guardian. They kind of have a direct link to heaven. So they are almost always on the good guy's side. You don't hear Chinese heroes go and slay dragon just for glory and stuff like that, for no good reason. I mean, it happened before. That obviously there have been dragons that went bad, but usually they are on the good guy's side, and they uh, control the element, especially water. Here's an interesting little trivia about Chinese dragon for you guys. In Chinese mythology, there's a dragon king, Long Wang, in the ocean. So it's said to be four dragon kings, one in the East Sea, one in the North Sea, one in the South Sea, one in the West Sea. But the fact of it is, uh, Dragon King exists in any natural body of water, no matter how small. So, if you have a well in your yard that still have water in it, most likely there's a Dragon King that's responsible for guarding that body of water. If there's a ditch on the side of the road, most likely there's a very unhappy Dragon King that's a guardian, that's tasked with being responsible for the water in that ditch. So, to put it simply, dragons are guardians of bodies of water and anything that reside in the water. In many, many instances, dragons are directly responsible for when it's supposed to rain, when it's supposed to rain, when it's supposed to uh, have a storm and lightning and stuff like that. In fact, in the story from the Tang Dynasty, one of the Dragon King that was tasked to bring rain to the area was late for doing so, and because of that, the dragon was slated for execution by the Jade Emperor. Wow, imagine that! Like you're late for bringing rain, or you're late for doing your job, and then for that you got to be executed. That's rough. So the Dragon King went to the Tang Dynasty, the Tang Emperor, and asked the Emperor to have a word with the Jade Emperor, and help the dragon not to be executed. And the Dragon also told the emperor, one of your underlings is going to be my executioner. So your underling, if he falls asleep tonight, he's going to dream that he kills a dragon, and that's going to be me. I'm going to die. So if you can keep your underling, if you can keep this minister awake the entire night, and so he can't carry out his order and execute me in the dream, then I'll be fine. The emperor agreed to do that, but failed to keep the minister awake. The minister still managed to doze off halfway through the meeting, and indeed, he did dream of killing a dragon, and the Dragon King was executed. And this led to the Dragon King's spirit coming back to haunt the emperor day and night, day and night. That led to the creation of the door gods, the guardian. We talked about this story in the origin of the Chinese door gods before, so we're just going to get past this. So you see, like Chinese dragon or long, they are usually workers for heaven. They are like government workers for the Jade Emperor. They rule uh, different bodies of water and they take care of the weather. So they're very, very different from any kind of Western dragon that we're talking about. They are not some wild creature hiding in a cave, sitting on top of a mound of coins, waiting for some hero to come slay them. Also, Chinese dragon usually are some of the highest tier in any kind of mythological creature. That doesn't mean that they're always the most powerful, because there have been other creatures that can rival the dragon, such as the phoenix and the qilin and the black tortoise, and even some of the more divine tigers that can definitely rival the power of the Chinese long. But as far as divinity and immortality and rank, dragon usually outrank any animal out there. And it is because of that they also usually have a lot of magical power. For example, they can uh, uh, shapeshift into other creatures such as fish or human beings. There have been many, many Chinese stories of dragons turning themselves into beautiful women or gorgeous young men to enjoy the human life and only go back to doing their dragon duty when the Jade Emperor takes an issue with it. Another fun little trivia about the dragon is the dragon is said to be the most lustful animal in Chinese pantheon, Chinese mythology. There's no other creature quite as lustful as a dragon. The dragon will breed with anything. Like literally, we already talked about the dragon being able to shape shift, and it can also alter its size. So, when it's in dragon form, it might be hundreds of feet long, but when it turns into a human, it's just a regular human size. And when it turns into a chicken, it's just a regular chicken size. So it can literally uh, blend in and mate with any animal it takes a liking to. Why would a dragon fall in love with a chicken? Well, don't ask me. I mean, I did say it is the most lustful of all creatures. It will literally mate with anything. This is why all the dragon's offsprings look different. One day we'll sit down and talk about the original nine offsprings of the original dragon. But that's going to take an entire episode all on its own. Just know that a dragon uh, offspring is not always look not they don't always look like dragon. Okay, it depends on what the dragon mated with. If the dragon mated with a chicken, it's going to turn into the offspring. It's going to look like a cockatrice. And if the dragon mate with a lion or a horse, and the offspring going to look like a qilin. If the dragon mated with a centipede, then it's going to have an offspring that look like a flying gigantic winged centipede. I actually drew one of those in one of my artworks before. So yeah, this is why when you look at Chinese mythologies, you see a lot of creature, and you say, is that a dragon? And the answer is kind of, but it's only half dragon. One of our earlier episodes, when I talk about the turtle, one of the most powerful turtle in Chinese history called Bixi, this is a guardian of the underworld. And most of the time, when you go to the cemetery, you will see a big stone turtle that's guarding the graveyard. So a lot of people say, "Oh, look, it's a turtle," but it's actually not. If you look at the stone turtle, first of all, most of the time the tail will look like it's made of fire, and the head will have horns and ridges like a dragon's head. And even at the most rudimentary, just look inside the mouth of the stone turtle. Okay, the 闭息 the dragon turtle actually have teeth. Okay, real turtles don't have teeth. That is how you can tell them apart. That's how you can tell that it's not an actual turtle. It's a dragon turtle. So 碧玺 came from a dragon mating with owl. Owl was one of the most powerful turtle in the in on Earth in Chinese mythology. So when owl and the dragon mated, it gave birth to Bixi, the dragon turtle. So let's look at the life of a dragon because they are not born this powerful. For a dragon to become a dragon, it has to go through a lot of hardship. It's not one of those creatures that were born strong. What is a dragon when it's just newborn? It's a snake. Right? Okay, this is why dragon look like a giant serpent. Okay, because all dragons, all the Chinese dragon, all the long born, they start out as simple snakes. If a snake was to be able to live 500 years, then the snake get big and powerful, and it becomes a mang. Basically, it becomes something like a python or a boa constrictor. So snake turn into mang, and another 500 years, if it's still alive, then it will upgrade into a ran. Ran is even bigger and live in water most of the time and can swallow an entire ox. And the organs of ran can cure almost any kind of poison or toxin. Ran, you can think of ran as like an anaconda. That's a third form, the third transformation of a snake. So after Zhan, if the Zhan live another 500 years and continue to grow its power and gather its chi and energy, it will upgrade. One single horn will grow out of its head, and claws will appear. It will grow legs. So after Ran gains this single horn and legs, it's upgrade into Jiao. Basically, Jiao is a water dragon, a sea dragon. And at this point, the Jiao will move into the ocean and try to dominate the ocean and carve out its own territory. Zhao is also one of the most often villainized form of dragon. You know, a lot, like I said, most Chinese heroes don't go out of their way to kill dragons because dragons are divine, they are godly. But when it was just a Jiao or Ran or Mang, so earlier stages of dragon, before it gained wisdom and immortality, It's just a regular monster. It's out for anyone to hunt them down and sell their body parts and scales and stuff like that. And because Jiao is so big and costs a lot of trouble for fishermen, so quite often fishermen will hire heroes to go out there and slay these Jiao. If a Jiao if a Jiao was to be able to survive another 500 years in the ocean, it will grow another horn. So now it has two horns and it can now fly out of the water and go into the sky. Now it turns into long, and this is the most common form of long you will see in Chinese culture. Now, if this long continue to upgrade another 500 to 1000 years, and this long will grow actual wings, and this turn into the most ultimate form of Chinese dragon, which is called Yin Long. So you see, for a loan to become loan, it does take a lot of time, and any of these stages they could be killed or hunted down, or otherwise meet some unfortunate demise. So it's not an easy task for a measly little snake to grow up to go thousands of years and become a loan in the end. Now let's talk about where did long actually come from. I'm not talking about oh it started as a snake and then grow up to be a mang. And I'm not talking about the mythological origin. I'm talking about the real origin. Where did dragon really come from? And some people say, well, obviously there's no such thing. Well, you might be right. Maybe there's not, but the fact remains that Chinese people have been worshipping dragon, and dragon being a strong symbol for Chinese people for thousands and thousands of years. So obviously it started somewhere. Where did this symbolism start? It all started 5,000 years ago when Huangdi and Yandi united Chinese people. After the big war between all the clans in China, and Huangdi and Yandi won out against the monstrous Chiyou. Now all the clans are at peace. It's time to unite the people under one banner. The one chieftain out of all the chieftains have to be able to call the shots. So this kind of great war wouldn't happen again. Now this was where the dilemma came in because tribe, every clan has their own totem. Okay, one tribe would be the people of the tiger, and the other tribe would be people of the rat, and the other tribe, their totem would be the rabbit, and the other tribe would be people of the ox. So if Huangdi was to rule all the people, what should his totem be? So rather than picking one type of animal, Huangdi decided I'm going to take all the animals and lump them together and make a new animal. There's two benefit for doing that. Number one, this way shows you're not playing favoritism. But because otherwise, if you say, okay, I'm the emperor and my totem is going to be the rabbit, well, then all the rabbit people is going to think that you're on their side, and all the tiger people is going to think that okay, so you like rabbit and you don't like tiger. So, by making a new totem, it shows people that you treat everybody equally. And this was the first Chinese dragon totem. It has the snout of a dog, it has the face of a dog, the antler of a deer, and the body of a serpent, and the claws of a bird or a rooster, and the beard of a goat, and eyes of an eagle, and manes of a lion, and all kind of animals. Like if you look at a depiction of a Chinese dragon, you can see so many animals lumped in there. And this is why this was a this totem, this dragon, this long was created so people knew that the emperor was a combination of everything. This was the first benefit of creating a new totem. The second benefit is that no matter what animal you were, there's always something that's going to kill you. Okay? If you were a rat, then the cat can kill you. If you're an ox, then people could kill you. If you're a tiger, then people could kill you. If you're a horse, people could kill you. You get what I mean? So obviously, the emperor, being the most powerful person in the whole country, wanted a totem that is above being killed by people, is above being killed by anything. So it cannot be any normal animal. It has to be a most powerful mythological animal imaginable that have the traits of every other animal but is above all the animals combined. Thus was created the symbol of Long, the Chinese dragon, an animal that was the sum of all the other animals, but so much greater than all the animals add together. And for many, many generations, Chinese emperors took this symbol very, very seriously. How seriously? Well, let me put it this way. These days, you can go out and buy socks and shirt and jacket and get a tattoo of a dragon, whatever you want. 1,000 years ago, if you have a dragon on your person and you're not royalty, most likely you would get dragged off and have your head chopped off for impersonating royalty because the dragon was exclusive to the emperor and his line. Any commoner that were caught with dragon symbolism were mostly not okay. Dragon boating being one of the very few exceptions, and dragon boating was one of those things that you only see them once a year. So it's very, very special occasions. And during the new year, you have dragon dance and dragon totems all over the place. That kind of very special occasions was okay. But most normal people, you can't have a tattoo of a dragon. You can't wear a jacket with a dragon on it. It just wasn't okay for thousands of years. Now let's look at the Chinese zodiac because in the beginning of the video we asked the question, why is it that all the other animals in the zodiac were normal animals and suddenly there's a dragon in the middle? And shouldn't the dragon, okay, if the dragon was so great, then shouldn't the dragon be first place? Why is the dragon fifth place? It doesn't make any kind of sense, right? And if you remember, I also mentioned that most of the zodiac are animals that people see uh, almost every day, like everyday people back then. You know, rat, yeah, definitely people saw a lot of them. Ox, yeah, the farmers needed them. Um, uh, Rabbit, they were everywhere. People would breed rabbit and eat them. Snake was very common, of course. Um, Goat, horses, monkeys. Now, some people say, wait. Monkeys? People saw a lot of monkeys? They actually did. Here in our modern society, we don't see, especially here in North America, we don't see monkeys very often, unless we turn on the TV and watch a documentary. But if you go to a lot of Asian countries like Thailand, for example, and India and China, you can still see monkeys very often. And usually they are either part of a show or they are part of a circus or they are uh, just someone's pet. I had a chimpanzee for pet, and I had monkey for pet when I was a kid, when I was growing up in Taiwan. So monkey is a very common thing in Asian culture, especially back in the old Chinese era, where a lot of performers would have a monkey sitting on their shoulder. A lot of drummers, a lot of musicians, they would carry a monkey around because monkeys could be taught to entertain the crowd and do all kinds of funny stuff. So yes, monkey as well is something that people see a lot. Uh, Pigs, of course, dogs, roosters. These are all animals that people saw all the time. The only two animals that was out of the ordinary in the zodiac were the tiger and the dragon. Why is that? So this takes us back to where did the zodiac come from? Well, the zodiac came from a series of paintings and sculptures by folk, by common folks. It actually came from folk art that were discovered and put together by poets and scholars, and then they wrote about the zodiac. They took these totems and folk arts and put them together, put a story to them, and created the Chinese zodiac. And then later, the story got to the Chinese emperor, and the emperor thought it made a lot of sense to divide the year up this way, and that's when it became more official to have year of the rat, year of the tiger, and all that stuff. In the beginning, though, in the beginning there was no consolidated. Oh, this is a year of the rat. This is a year of the tiger. It was more like, okay, I am from the clan of the tiger, or I'm from the clan of the dog. Then this is the year of my people being exiled, or this is the year of my people building our village. So this is the year of the dog. Oh, so the next village is a village, the people of the ox, and this is the year that they found their water source. So this become their year of the ox. So it was very fragmented. It wasn't consolidated until much later. Why is that important? Because remember, we're talking about carvings and sculptures from 2 or 3 thousand years ago. These were not very sophisticated totems. These were very rough, very blocky. Most of them were, well, like just black and white, you can say. There's no paint on them, there's no color. They were just like carved from a stone and left it the way it was. So there is a very big part of Chinese scholar community that's floating this story that is quite plausible that there was never meant to be dragon or tiger in the original zodiac lineup to begin with. Because if we go back and look at the ancient relics, look at these old carvings of what those totems were, it could be a tiger, yeah, but it could also be a cat. Don't forget, there was no color. There was no, it's just one solid color. So there's nothing to indicate it was a tiger. There's no stripe. Nothing to say it was a tiger. The only thing you had to go by is some kind of a cat. Maybe a really big cat, but still, it just looked like a cat. Now here is a very anticlimactic part. Okay, maybe there was never meant to be a dragon, but don't forget, dragon was something that only the emperor could use. It doesn't make sense that the common folks would have a dragon totem and call it a dragon of the year of the dragon. So if we look at these old totems, what we think of as dragon today actually looked a lot more like a salamander or a gecko, and those were things that people would see every day, especially geckos. But like when I was growing up in Taiwan, we had salamanders in our house, we had geckos in our house, and you do see them almost every day. So when you look at the original carving, what we think of dragon, It's like, okay, it's long, it's scaly, it has four legs. What is that? It's a lizard. It's a gecko. So this actually makes a lot of sense when we think about it, because all the other animals were something that people would come across every day, and obviously it makes sense because if the common folks were using these animals as symbolisms, then they would use animals that they saw the most often, such as roosters and oxen and horses and pigs and dogs. So if they saw a lot of cats, then there's going to be a cat. If they saw a lot of gecko, just as they saw a lot of snakes, then they're going to put a gecko or some kind of lizard in there. So why did these things get upgraded to be tiger and dragon later on? Well, then we got to thank the royalty and the rich people for that, because later on, when the zodiac stories got to the royal court and the emperor started to consolidate them and want to make the years official, then the emperor said, "Whoa, hold on a second. Everybody got a year. How come I don't have a year? I am the emperor. My totem is a dragon. Where is the dragon?" And obviously, someone at the court have to think really fast. Your Majesty, that one is a dragon. That one's a dragon. He never told him that it's actually just a gecko. Huh. And all the other high-ranking government workers. Oh well, the dragon is already used by the emperor. Then what do we get? Well, that cat looked kind of like a tiger, and tiger is usually the symbol of government officials. So let's have a year of the tiger. So when you think about dragon and tiger in Chinese uh, symbolism and Chinese zodiac, they are more a construct of political uh, patronization and political decision more than something that was originally there to begin with. So when Mulan said, "Whoa, my ancestors sent me a lizard," and Eddie Murphy said, "Dragon," I don't do that tongue thing. That might have been a very funny thing, but it might not be that far from the actual truth. A dragon was actually meant to be a lizard all along. Thank you for checking out today's episode, and thank you for uh, the person who suggested this episode. You know who you are. I'm not going to mention your name. Don't forget, if you want to read some of my blogs, you can check out johnnytigerexperience.blogspot.com. There you will see interesting photos, personal musings, martial art tips, and other fun stuff that is not available on my videos. For now, 谢谢 and 再见。